Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Pixelgon podcast. We are back in action.
Yes, we are.
And back together with terrible lighting.
Yep.
As is tradition. So, we missed a week or two or three or something.
Something like that. The good news is that we finally got everything together, and now everything is going to go smoothly, and every Thursday you're going to have your Pixelgon episode, and it's going to be amazing, and we have a lot of plans.
All three of you. Yeah. So we are back. We had a holiday. Thanksgiving.
Something called Thanksgiving, or Turkey Giving.
Turkey Giving. Gobble Giving. Some other weird turducken themed thing, I'm sure.
But it's been an awesome November, though. It's so many amazing games that's come out. It's just been fun. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, there's been a lot to fill the time for sure. We wanted to try and pick up on a couple of things that we missed and see if we can cover a couple of quick topics that have been going on in the video game world. And then we have a little bit more that we want to fill our time with for this episode. So let's go ahead and cut right into the news section. There were a couple interesting things going on in the video game world. First of all, System Shock, which was an incredibly popular sci-fi game. Okay.
But I know of it. I know how important it is.
Well, System Shock was an incredibly popular sci-fi game, which also spawned one of the best sci-fi horror games ever made.
Oh, wow.
Which is System Shock 2.
Yeah.
So, System Shock already has a HD-ish sort of
type of
remake on Steam, but they're also getting an enhanced version, which looks quite a bit better.
No, definitely. I mean, by itself, the enhancement from what it is, the classical retro game into the one. Yeah. What I do like and what I'm seeing here is that they are still keeping with that retro style. It's not full on, quality that we're used to still nowadays.
So, the original publisher for System Shock 2 is remaking System Shock into System Shock Enhanced Edition. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a full remake of the game as much as it's going to be sort of like a reimagining of the game, kind of like how Black Mesa, which came out about a year or two ago, was a reimagining of the original Half-Life.
Yeah.
So it's a very similar type of thing, and from what I can tell, there's some side-by-sides here of the original game, right here, for instance, into the newer, updated version. And obviously the major difference is the overlay. The UI has been updated to a much more modern one, in that I believe there's going to be a little bit of UI sort of on the top and sides, as you can see in these beta images of this. But you don't have this really big old-style UI and the screen just sort of scrunched up on top, like you see in the older games. So that'll be interesting to replay through. I've only played a little bit of System Shock, but I played a lot of System Shock 2.
Yeah.
And the ending of System Shock 2, spoiler, shows off a bit of System Shock 1.
Oh. Kind of like how Bioshock Infinite, in the end, showed a little bit of Bioshock 1.
Yeah. When you play through Bioshock, a lot of what you're doing in that game is influenced incredibly highly by the System Shock franchise. System Shock 1 and System Shock 2, specifically 2, especially with the audio logs, that is very, very common to the System Shock game series. And it looks like you're going to be doing something similar here still in the original System Shock remakes. And this will be another way for an audience who, won't want to go back to a game that looks like this, for instance, and might be more interested in playing through the game in a reimagined Unity engine build, which is what they're working on.
Now, I ask you, Derek, do you think there might be a special reason as to why we're getting System Shock back? Is there maybe a plans to release a System Shock 3 eventually? Or something like that? I mean, we know that Irrational Games kind of broke down and imploded into themselves, and now they're different studios. So Irrational Games by themselves don't kind of exist, at least not the same team. The lead designer and director for Bioshock, it's gone. He made his own smaller team. Right. So is there maybe a plan to bring in System Shock back, or maybe another Bioshock?
This might be being recreated because of the popularity of Bioshock and how much Bioshock has been influenced by those games, so they're thinking that there might be some interest in that community wanting to play this again. As far as seeing a third game in the series, I don't know. It feels like at this point, if they were going to make a third System Shock, the audience of today would wonder why it's not called BioShock.
Yeah.
Even though they're completely different.
Yeah.
Like BioShock is more of like an Ayn Rand type of, reimagining of the 20s and 40s in that area. Whereas System Shock is
completely futuristic.
Is futuristic sci-fi.
Okay.
So if they're making a game like that, the BioShock game name has much more recognition than I would suspect the System Shock one would have at this point.
Okay.
So it's probably more just due to the popularity of the BioShock series than anything else. But if they're remaking System Shock 1, there might be some sort of an interest in updating System Shock 2 as well, depending on how popular this is.
Sounds fun.
So I'd like to see that. I love System Shock 2. It's one of my favorite games ever. So as far as shooters go, or even sci-fi games go. So definitely a cool thing to look forward to in the future. I don't believe there's any release date currently on this, but there's some interesting stuff to look at for sure. Hey, what's up, Tom Giggity?
What's up, Don? Yeah, no, we finally were able to get together and do this, which is fun. Having some whiskeys.
Oh God!
Yeah, not necessarily any type of coffee or tea. It's pure whiskey here.
I drank too much. All right, anyway. Whew. That is some cheap whiskey.
Oh yeah, the only way to go.
So that is all I have for System Shock, but it looks like an awesome game.
It does.
I'm actually kind of excited for that. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about a little game that had been delayed over the last couple years. There was a game announced last year called Duke Nukem Mass Destruction, which is not a Gearbox game and is not a 3D Realms game. And because of that, it ran into a ton of issues with licensing issues.
It's a lawsuit, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So it was supposed to be sort of like an isometric Duke Nukem game. Like a third-person game, kind of like Lara Croft. And
Dungeon crawler style gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Or like Alien Swarm or something like that. And they were originally making it a Duke Nukem game before 3D Realms sold the licensing over to Gearbox.
And we all know how that ended.
Yeah, obviously for Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah, it ended forever ago. So
it took forever to develop that game too.
It was only 12 years.
Only 12 years, they said. Everything will be fine, they said. Right.
So that game, this specific Duke Nukem game, had been killed as a Duke Nukem game, and it is no longer Duke Nukem franchised due to the lawsuit that Gearbox has given them, which
nowadays maybe not be a bad thing considering how bad Duke Nukem
Forever
flavor left in our mouth. It's not really the best games we could have had from them.
Yeah, so Gearbox decided to uphold their licensing of Duke Nukem for that purpose, and the team that had been working on this game was forced to remove Duke Nukem completely from the franchise and instead move up a side character called Bombshell as the major character for the game. So we have a new game coming out, which is totally not Duke Nukem, called Bombshell.
Yay!
So this is going to be... It's been delayed a bit because it has a ton of bugs still that they're working on. It was supposed to be out sort of, I believe, in the first couple months of the next year.
When did they announce it?
Last year.
Last year? Okay, it's just 11 years to go.
11 years to go.
Yeah, just 11 years to go then. So, fine. It's running in time.
Right? But the game does look kind of interesting. There's been a lot of similar games to this out. For instance, let me see if I can get this to play without audio. There we go. Oh, no. I think that's the best I can do. Let me make sure if that's really loud. But no, that's perfect. So that looks sort of like an isometric action game, which
is fun.
Does look like a fine game, to be honest. My question here is, was it worth Gearbox keeping their licensing on Duke Nukem for a game like this, or do you think this could have helped the licensing by them not, going towards that route.
Well, Duke Nukem right now is a trouble franchise, right? It took them 12 years to be able to develop one crappy game. And that's something that, at the moment, even though Duke Nukem does have that history on it, right? We all remember that awesome Duke Nukem and his one-liners and those games, which were great by the time, but Gearbox weren't able to give us a good Duke Nukem game. I believe that this lawsuit was actually heaven sent, because with that they can be able to develop their own IP that might be able to generate their own thing. So I believe this is actually a good thing. I mean, Gearbox actually did them a favor, so I'm actually pretty excited.
Do you think this game could have helped Gearbox revive the franchise a bit?
No, if you're gonna revive Duke Nukem, you can't do it any other way that is not a first-person shooter, unfortunately. So doing an isometric dungeon crawling type of game wouldn't really help Duke Nukem at all, actually. So it would have been a niche, one of those maybe spin-off games would have been good, but it wouldn't be remembered as good. So Gearbox needs to get and make themselves an amazing Duke Nukem game. How long it might take them 25 years to do it, I don't know how long, but they need to definitely do that to revive. So I do believe that Bombshell actually did dodge a bullet by not having the Duke Nukem name in it.
Yeah, at least a bit of an explosion or two from the forums that would be talking about it. But Bombshell, I think I agree. Yep. The game looks decent, honestly. It's something I might actually be willing to try out. I don't think it would necessarily have hurt or helped the franchise at all. Just like Lara Croft and the I think it's like Guardian Light or Lara
There's
Croft.
two of them, yeah. Temple of Osiris, I think it's one, and
but the isometric Lara Croft games, they're not canon Lara Croft games. They're not canon Tomb Raider games. That's not what revitalized the series. It was the full Tomb Raider game.
But
that came out,
but at the same time, we're talking about a franchise which right now, thanks to its reboot,
is in the bottom.
Talking about Lara Croft. Thanks to the reboot, it is the reboot being a success. It is a name to be recognized right now. Where Duke Nukem, not so much.
Yeah. So, as a person who actually did not legitimately entirely hate Duke Nukem Forever, I still want to see more Duke Nukem stuff. It was an
okay game. The problem lies
it was fine for what it was.
Yeah, 12 years, that game, I don't know what happened. I mean, it was okay, but when you're waiting for 12 years for a game, you're expecting something else, that's for sure.
Sure. Have you ever gone back and played... There are actual playable versions of the original Duke Nukem Forever that was shown at E3 2002.
Yeah.
And they're really good. Actually,
of course they are.
Because it's exactly what you think a Duke Nukem game should be, a Doom clone.
Yep.
It was great, and then obviously the new one is more throwing shots at games that didn't really deserve to be thrown at by a worse game.
I had eggs for breakfast. Yeah. Your mother had sausage.
There's a famous shot of Duke complaining about Master Chief, because there's a Master Chief helmet in one of the cards or something like that. He's taking a pot shot at Halo when it's way worse than Halo.
Duke Nukem has the potential to be such an amazing type of game. How do you call it? Where it just messes with other franchises and just bashes them.
Like a parody.
Like a parody, that's the word I was looking for. A parody game. And it's such a potential to do that. And they really missed the ball with Forever. But I'm hopeful that Duke Nukem is not dead and something else coming out, and I'm dying to play it.
Yep, agreed. So that's Bombshell, something to look forward to. As far as a not Duke Nukem game, it has an interesting backstory, interesting gameplay by the looks of it. I don't know how long it's going to be. It's probably more of an arcade type of game, but something to look forward to.
Yeah, those type of games don't usually last maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, depending on how much length. And here's the question: is it going to be a full $60 retail game, or is it going to be a download only game for $20? We don't know. So hopefully it's going to be something awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea on that. I assume it'll be similar to Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light or something like that, where it's probably a $15 release when it comes out.
Yeah,
but we'll find out.
Or $14.99. Yeah, I'm excited.
It's supposed to be for PS4 and PC.
Yep.
So no Xbox on that.
Oh.
Which is a little unfortunate, I guess. But that was Bombshell. So I want to move into another quick story here, just very quickly. I recently finished the Telltale Game of Thrones Season 1.
Nice.
And if you are a fan of the show, it's very good. It follows a family called the Forresters, which are not mentioned anywhere in the show otherwise. So it's sort of like its own entity taking place alongside the series of the show and the books. And it ends...
so it's
a lot of it is sort of...
It's Walking Dead to Walking Dead the show, right? Is that is to Game of Thrones that is Walking Dead to the show.
Basically, yeah. Like the Walking Dead games that Telltale did are alongside the Walking Dead comic or Walking Dead Telltale. The story Telltale did for Walking Dead is alongside the comics of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And Game of Thrones is very similar. But the cool thing about Game of Thrones is they also got all of the, well, not all, but they got a large portion of the original voice actors for the main characters of the show.
Yeah.
So you see like Cersei and Jon Snow and all these really important characters interacting with you, the player, while you're playing through the game. And you also jump around from character to character and story to story, just like you do in the actual show and book, which is really cool. So Telltale did an awesome job on the first season. And as a fan of the series and the show, specifically someone who has not read the books, because I'm a loser, I super enjoyed it. So Telltale had announced very recently that they're also getting a season 2, very similar to the way that Walking Dead got a season 2. It's going to interact with the choices that you made in season 1 and continue the story of the Forrester family from the end of season 1.
Okay. So here's my question. Was it really an impact? I mean, I really haven't heard much about Game of Thrones games. Not very. The Echo Chamber has been pretty quiet about it. It's it's released, it finished. The finale was released not too long ago, and really not that many people are talking about it. Do you think that Game of Thrones, I mean, obviously it's sold, because if not, we won't be getting a sequel. But do you think it did the impact that Walking Dead, the first season, did when it first came out?
I think Walking Dead probably appeals to a larger audience.
Really? More than Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I think so. The thing about Walking Dead is the zombie trope is much more universal, and the zombie survival is something that a larger amount of the population is interested in interacting with and talking about, and that type of thing. Whereas Game of Thrones is much more about intrigue and slow combat and betrayal and all this other stuff. It's
sex.
Much more. So the game actually doesn't have any sex.
I don't want to play it.
There's no boobs. There's no tits. There's no ass. Nothing HBO. It's very. I would still say it's rated R to a heavy PG-13, but there's just no nudity. Which I think is
Am I the only one seeing a problem here?
But I think that's more to open it up to a more general audience.
Why?
And it's also something that Telltale probably had a hand in for selling the game. I also think there might be issues
in the game industry. Selling a for mature game is not always better than selling a T for teen, right? If you want to open it up to the bigger audience to be able to play a game.
For the same reason that the show isn't available on like CBS, for instance, and it has to be on HBO or Showtime or those types of shows. It's the same reason why the game doesn't have that type of content, because in order to include that content, you would have to raise who can actually play your game and how it gets distributed. Like it would significantly hurt their sales of the game by making the audience that can play it much smaller.
Yep.
Whereas when you're doing a subscription service like HBO, there's a lot more flexibility for that type of content. I don't think it hurt the content of the game at all, though.
Yep, Don Diggity actually brought up a great point, where it's that he had a rough time playing Game of Thrones Telltale games versus the Borderlands one, which everybody loved. Not just you, Don Diggity. Actually, Borderlands, the finale, apparently was one of the best finales for anything ever, so I'm excited to play that one for sure.
I still need to finish through the Borderlands, Tales from Borderlands game. I actually did start that a while back, but I haven't completed it. That game is also really good. Telltale has a really good way of taking a franchise and making it give out as much bang for their buck as possible.
Yeah.
Like they're really good at actually telling the story and the characters and making it interesting from a player's
They
perspective.
truly are the masters of storytelling, and I do admire them for them. One thing I do have to say for them, upgrade your damn engine. That engine is prehistoric. We deserve something better right now. That thing cannot run. It is very glitchy. It is bad, and for what it does, it is just stupid. So get your shit together, Telltale. Give us a better engine. I'm not asking for better graphics. I'm asking for an engine that runs perfectly. That's all I'm asking. But on that Telltale note, if you would take a franchise, one franchise that Telltale right now is not dealing with, and you would say, I want a Telltale game from them, which one would you pick, Derek?
Which one would I pick?
Yep.
The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
What the fuck is that? Like always. What the fuck is that?
Don't worry about it.
I would definitely, personally, I would love a Doctor Who game. A Doctor Who Telltale game would be fantastic. I'm the biggest Doctor Who fan.
Doctor Who would be
and
great.
That would be amazing.
So I have actually played some Doctor Who games that the BBC has put out, and they're all complete, utter garbage trash.
All of them,
They're really bad. I've even tried some of their point and clicks.
Doctor Who game would be freaking amazing.
No, I agree. Doctor Who would be good. I'm trying to figure out... You know what would be really good, actually? A Telltale Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Oh, that would be fantastic, dude.
Because that show's been great,
yeah,
by the way.
No, that would be
I've
fantastic.
been digging that show.
Great choice, yeah.
They even already have used the model in one of their poker games.
Yeah.
Inventory... Oh, no, it's Poker Night at the Inventory 2.
Yep.
They used Ash in there, and I'm like, holy crap, they're going to make an Ash game. That's going to be great. Can't wait. So I would love to see a Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Douglas Adams game. I have no idea what that is, Flaming Cheetos.
That I don't know, actually. Yeah.
We're sorry. Ashamed to say.
Author. I forget which books, though. I'm sure it'll come to me. Like a Hitchhiker's? Hitchhiker's game would be good.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? That would be freaking amazing.
Yeah, that would be good. I actually never got into Hitchhikers much, to be honest.
Oh, Flaming Cheetos has just gone off of AWOL.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Thank you. I apologize.
Yes, I have watched half of the Hitchhikers movie. That's about as far as I got on it, so I don't know. As a person who hasn't actually read the book, I feel like I was missing out by watching the movie.
And he wrote some of the episodes as well?
Oh, he did? Wow, sick. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
But, yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
That would be fantastic.
Telltale has a lot of or LPs? IPs. A lot of IPs.
Long planes? Yeah, a lot of long planes.
No, they have a lot of IPs that would be perfectly suited for the team that works on their games. And I would be excited for that for sure. But if you're interested in Game of Thrones, you like the books, or you like the show, I would definitely suggest checking out Season 1 of their series for Game of Thrones. Yeah. And Season 2, I'm super excited for. Yeah. So that's cool that got announced.
And don't forget, guys, that Telltale Games also had managed to get the IP Avengers. So we are going to see an Avengers game from them, and I'm pretty excited for that. So that's something to definitely keep a lookout on. It soon we'll hear some news from that.
So last bit of news for the show before we move on to new shit. This is not as much video game related as something I just kind of wanted to talk about.
It is nerd related, which is fine for this show.
So there was a old show that used to be played on public television and then eventually moved over to Sci-Fi Channel and a couple other channels. And it was a show where they would watch C-list movies, not B movies. B movies are too good for this show. And they would riff the crap out of them.
I remember.
Which was hilarious. So, of course, I'm talking about Mystery Science Theater 3000, which was incredibly popular considering the amount of funding that went into it. It was essentially just a public access show that got more funding. And it's a lot of what the internet does now before the internet was popular, you know, like... back in the 90s and early 2000s, they were making these riff reviews of movies, which you see a lot more now on YouTube. Yeah. But they started a Kickstarter, which has 12 days left to go as of today. And currently they're up to about halfway through where they need to be for 4 through 6 episodes. So they're at least doing a 1 through 3 episode revival of the show with Joel from the original series and then an all-new cast. So that's going to involve new voices for Crow T. Robot as well as all the other puppets, as well as 2 new hosts that have been announced and a third one that will be. So it's a whole new cast. That'll include Jonah Ray, which is from the Nerdist podcast. It will include Felicia Day, which I'm actually excited about because I think Felicia Day is actually really good.
I love Felicia Day. I'm a big fan.
And then third unannounced as of yet henchman to help out. So the way the show would work is they would show you this awful movie, and then they'd have little
Hey, Anthrax.
clips of a story sort of mingling the actual movie.
Yeah.
So you'd see like Joel cleaning up the spaceship that he's on, that he's a prisoner in. Then it would cut to like the evil scientists talking about some other backstory and go back to the puppets doing stuff. So you get these nice little story bits in between the actual movie that you're watching, and it was one of the funniest things ever. I absolutely love Mystery Science Theater. So the fact that it's not going to have all the original cast, like Dale and all the other folks which are doing riff tracks now, is a little bit concerning. But at the same time, the show had done a reboot of their hosts multiple times throughout the series. Like it's a pretty long running series, so getting new blood in there to sort of redo that magic on the screen is not something I'm against at all.
Of course not.
So this is something I'm super excited for. If you are interested in Mystery Science Theater, they're still working on their Kickstarter. There's some pretty cool videos out there already about that are really charming, actually, because they're definitely in the style of the original show, and it's something I would at least suggest checking out.
Yeah. It's Miguel Antrax, or Jashiro, Lord Jashiro, if you're following Twitch, Twitter.
The new Dane Cook is the last guy? Hopefully not. At that point, I'm not doing it. Yeah. But it'll be nice to see Crow and Tom Servo and all the other
It is great that
folks.
they're bringing up this type of show, which is definitely something we do lack right now on TV. We don't have something that is type of like concept of comedy with the foresee those type of movies. So I'm pretty excited. I'm a big fan of Felicia Day for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
But I'm also am a big fan of being able to bring shows from the back that are they were so good. I don't have much memories. Not the only one. I don't have much memories of Mystery Science Theater other than I did see it once or twice. But it's great to be able to bring it back and be able to see more of it. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
No, I'm super excited. So hopefully we'll see more than just the 3 episodes. But currently they're well on their way to reaching their goal. Just a couple weeks left to get there.
5.5 million. That's a lot of money. I mean, considering, and I don't know anything about production of a TV show, don't get me wrong, so I'm completely ignorant in that point. But compared to games, I mean, I've always thought that the development of a game versus the development of a TV show, the game will be more expensive. So it kind of took me back, because I'm like, why 5.5 million to do 12 episodes versus I've seen games like Ukulele doesn't even need that much to be able to be developed. So it's kind of weird.
Well, they're asking for $2 million for the first 3 episodes, and that's, I'm assuming, sets, director, actors, getting the licensing fees. Although a lot of the movies they did were public domain.
Yeah.
Some of them they might need to get licensing fees for, because there's some movies they want to do that they haven't been able to do before, due to that. But yeah, I mean, $2 million, it sounds reasonable for like a couple episodes. The 5.5 is quite a bit. They do go into detail explaining all the costs in the Kickstarter and why it costs that much. And Kickstarter does take a pretty large cut of the deal. Every time there's a big Kickstarter like that, they take somewhere around like 15 to 20% of whatever's earned, which is huge.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I mean, they need to take that into account too.
Okay.
So I think the number's fine for what it is. It's definitely going to be higher budget than, let's say, the cable access show was when it originally came out. But it's probably about where it was, like, near the end of the last couple seasons.
Yep.
As far as production goes.
What movies do you think they're going to cover?
Twilight. That'd be nice. I'd watch them do Twilight. That'd be great.
That would be fantastic, actually.
Yeah, that'd be really good. There's a bunch of old films they could do that are super good to riff as well, but I'm thinking they might focus on some old and some new and try to move more towards that way. What I think they're not going to do is I don't think they're going to do like Sharknado or any of the Asylum films, because the problem with the Asylum films is you can't, when you're riffing a movie, you want the movie to have some heart and actually be attempting to be intentionally good, and an Asylum movie is intentionally trying to be awful, which defeats the entire purpose of trying to riff the thing.
Yeah.
Because if it's bad on purpose, then making fun of it being bad on purpose doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You're just commenting on the way the movie was made. So I don't think they're going to do any Asylum movies, which is good. Although they did do a Rift Tracks live of Sharknado, but I don't know why they did that.
No.
It was pretty
Maybe
awful.
a Paranormal Activity.
I could see a Paranormal Activity. Yeah.
That could be good too.
Something like that. I don't think they'll do any horror movies either. Not newer horror. They're not going to do any like Freddy vs. Jason or anything like that, I suspect.
Yeah.
It's a little too heavy for that type of show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be good to see. We'll see at the very least 3 episodes now. So something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That is it for the news for our show. So we're going to move on to our new shit, which is where we talk about what we are currently playing and what we think you should be playing, or at least try to introduce you to why we like a game that we have currently been working towards. So I'll go ahead and let Miguel cut in first for new shit.
So if you guys, it's November is here. It's that great month where everything comes out, and it's been amazing. We've had so many good games. We have Halo 5. Yeah. We've got Star Wars Battlefront. We've got Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Lara Croft. It's been an amazing year or holiday, but if you're not playing Fallout, I don't know what you're doing with your life other than having a life. So Fallout is an amazing game, and I've been playing it ever since release, and of course we've skipped a few episodes, and I really didn't want to talk about it in the week where it came out, because it's a type of game you have to give it time. You have to give it time to settle, to see if it's what it was. And definitely what it is amazing. I've been playing Fallout for I don't know how many hours already, Derek. It's been amazing. But it is that type of game where it is an open world game where you just lose yourself in it. There's no other way to describe it. You live your life in that game, and it's fantastic. There's a few things that people are hating on it. They're saying the spec systems, the stat system has been getting pussy. That's good.
The perks?
The perks are a lot better. And also, the other thing that has been amazing for it is the shooting has been improved, which is now feels like a third-person shooter.
Right.
So at first, it was getting kind of hard to get into it, kind of weird. But once you get the grasp of it, it's a really amazing game. It's hard to describe the vast openness of it. Fallout games have always been known for being this wide open space, but this game is by far the biggest they have ever done. The amount of adventuring you can go, it is absolutely off the wall. Everywhere you go in that game, there's something that just pops up to get your attention. It is just amazing. And it is definitely something that you definitely have to play it for yourself to understand. And I know Don Diggity just said that they've been watching it and it's a blast. And it definitely is a blast, not just watching, but also freaking playing it. One thing I've loved, the crafting system that's completely new on this game. Crafting system, everything in that game you can find. You always know, if you played the Elder Scrolls series, if you played the Fallout series, you know that you find a lot of junk. And that's what it is. Junk. In this game, that junk actually is useful. Every time you pick a pencil, you need that pencil for the lead that it brings. Yeah. You need to find those globes with the screws and the wood and everything, the plastic that you need, because all those parts, you need them to craft everything you need in that game. And the amount of crafting in that game is just completely ridiculous. Not only can you just craft all types of mods for your weapons and armors and just build them however you want, but you can also create your own settlements and have them built. And you can even create, and it's kind of Minecraft-ish in that way, where not just create a building, but also create the light source for that window, for that building, and be able to highlight, have generators, and have water, and have everything you need to be able to create that. It is amazing. It is a great game. It is particularly my favorite game from November. Speaking of someone that was very genuinely excited for Star Wars Battlefront, and it is. I bought it as well, and I'm playing it as well. I'm having a blast. I'll talk about that one next week, or this week. But Fallout has definitely got my attention, and it's definitely an amazing game. If you guys are looking for one game to buy this holiday season, and you like RPGs, and you like what Bethesda does, get yourself Fallout. It's the only game you need.
That was a sales pitch, my friend.
Yep.
So yeah, I actually do really want to get into Fallout. I just haven't had a chance to buy it yet. From what I've seen, the gameplay of the streams and such, it's something I definitely would get into. I have my own concerns as well, but I'm going to wait till I play it to get into it more.
Definitely.
So as far as new shit for me goes, What I've been playing recently has been quite a bit different. It is a Double Fine game, which came out in 2012, and it's called Stacking. So Stacking is a Russian doll themed puzzle game. So the idea is you are a little Russian doll, and you can stack into other Russian dolls which have their own abilities, and you use their special abilities to try and solve puzzles throughout the game. So it's one of the better Double Fine games out there. It has a lot of the same humor as something like Psychonauts does, for instance. But the thing I really like about the game, one, it was on sale on Steam for $1, so can't pass on that. Two, it has a lot of really good charm and interesting gameplay. You haven't really seen a game very similar to this before, where you can sort of jump into different characters and there's puzzles based around how you jump into them, as well as combining abilities of those characters. And three, I just think it's honestly a very fun game. I do have a little bit of an issue with the game. It's a little too easy. A lot of the puzzles are pretty easy to figure out, but a lot of the challenge of the game is every single puzzle has somewhere between 3 and 6 solutions.
Okay.
So a lot of the game is you figure out one solution, and then you try to figure out what the other 5 are, and how to do those based on what they give you around the area, and how you would complete it at that point. So there's also collecting every doll in a level. There's hijinks added on, which is each special character doll that you get into has their own puzzle to complete throughout the level as well. Like if you get into Raccoon, find 3 burrows, for instance, and go in all of them, and that type of thing. So it adds a little bit more things to do throughout the game rather than just going straight through the main storyline puzzle. So I think that's fun. As a completionist, it's interesting to kind of go through, and if you get stuck, there's a hint system to try and give you an idea of what you might want to do from there.
Okay.
But nice little title. It's pretty cheap right now on Steam still, I believe, for Black Friday. If not, it goes on sale every time they have a sale. But nice little thing to play through for like 4 or 5 hours. Fun little game. So I would suggest Stacking. And that is what I got for new shit today. So we're going to move on to the variety here. Normally we would open this up for chat questions if you have anything you want us to discuss. We're going to go ahead and start off today. We found out a while ago that Miguel and myself have both worked in the video game industry in different ways, and we wanted to see if maybe we could talk a little bit about that. So I was a employee for Nintendo of America for 3 years, and Miguel worked for unnamed game store for X amount of years as a manager even.
Yeah. I also worked for a web game developer as well for a year, which was pretty fun. Double Down, and that one I can say.
Oh, okay.
Double Down Interactive. It's a
I didn't know
casino
that.
developer, so I worked for them for a year. So that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty rad, actually. So we wanted to see if maybe we could just talk about a couple of our experiences with customers.
Oh, yeah.
Because that seems like the easiest thing to discuss ever.
Yep.
So
You have not dealt with stupid people until you've dealt in the retail gaming industry or on the customer service email service as well.
Oh my
It is
Lord.
incredible.
So when I was working at Nintendo, in my last year and a half there, I was part of the administrative team that would help with Miiverse moderation.
Oh.
So Miiverse is the social media service on the Wii U and the 3DS, which is used mainly to like give hints and stuff in games, and sort of like a place for people to draw pictures of Nintendo characters and
Yeah, of course.
that type of thing. So it's also mainly used for dick drawings.
I was just saying right now.
And there's a lot of them. So my job was to find dick drawings on Miiverse and ban the people that draw them.
That's what you did, dude.
I did that for like, that was part of my job for like a year and a half, was to dig through Miiverse and
Dick
moderate them.
moderator Derek.
Yeah.
Yes.
So- But the worst part is, because I was also I was also part of the escalation desk in the call
That's
center.
fantastic, yeah.
So I would also get calls from like parents asking why their kid was banned.
Oh,
and I'd have to talk to the parent. So part of my job also
because you have a
included...
sick child, sir. You have a sick child.
You have no idea. So I had this one woman call up. She was furious that her daughter got banned, and she didn't know why. And her daughter came up to her and was like, I got banned, I can't get on, what's happening, Mom, or whatever. And then she saw that she was banned, so she called us, just yelling and screaming, and the worst thing ever. So she got up to me, because I was the escalation at the time for that day.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm talking to her, she's like, my little girl got banned, and I don't know what you guys think she did, but she didn't do it. I need you to ban her right this instant and all this stuff. So I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, I can help you out. And I'm digging through the Miiverse, finding her account and everything. I pull it up. So I pull up the post, and it's just like the most vivid dick I've ever seen an 8-year-old draw. With like veins and shit. I'm like, oh damn. So I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't. This is like the fourth time.
I'm sorry, man, but you failed at parenthood.
So, the best part is, so this is the fourth time we banned her daughter for this.
Oh, the fourth
time. So we banned her daughter 4 times for drawing inappropriate things on Miiverse. So this is like the fourth time this has happened. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, ma'am. I would love to unban your child, but this is like the 4th time, and we're gonna have to let her sit out the week of ban on Miiverse.
Oh, because
she drew
that's
something
the penalty,
incredibly inappropriate.
A week of banning for drawing
Yes.
fake drawings.
The 5th one would have got her account completely shut off.
Oh,
but
of course,
I said it's just a
charm.
week. We've already removed it 3 times. I'm sorry, I can't help you out, man. And then she fucking went ballistic. So, so she's like, well, what did she draw? All right, it's a very phallic object. and she's so I'm trying to describe it without saying a dick, you know, like. So okay. So then she's like, no, my little girl would never draw phallic. She would never draw a penis. What are you talking about? So I'm having this conversation with an adult mother. And so she's like going off on this. You guys just have a dirty mind. My little angel would never draw this. I'm like, okay, ma'am, here's the deal. I'm not going to unban it, but I can mail you a picture of what she drew.
Oh my god!
Just print it out on Nintendo letterhead and mail it. And she went dead silent.
Wait, on the Nintendo letterhead? What the fuck?
So she went dead silent. And she's like, no, I'll talk with my daughter. And then hung up. It was the best thing. I don't even want to imagine what it was like somebody overhearing this conversation as it was happening. It was the funniest fucking thing. So that was my job for a while.
There's no way I can top that, dude.
So, yeah, pro Nintendo employee.
Oh,
commentating on dick pictures.
Woo.
That's my customer story for today.
Woo. So, yes, Derek's a dick expert. Yes. So, I have nothing to top this, so don't expect. But anyway, here's the story.
Yeah.
So I used to work. I have a part time with this game company, so I can't really say the name yet. That's why I kind of keep it on the mystery. It's small part time. So, but I do work for a popular gaming store, or a store that has a gaming section, and it's been fun. It's always fun. It's always fun around the holidays, and it's always fun after the 24th or 25th of Christmas, because it's Return Day. And Return Day has always been just one day of pure patience. And like Derek said in the beginning, I used to be a manager for this store. So one crazy story I had. So I used to be a manager back at Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, for those who don't know, we have 2 Christmases. We have 25th of December, which is Christmas days, and we also have 3 Kings Day, which is the 6th of January. On the 6th of January, the 7th of January, it is officially Return Day. And on Return Day, we have a huge line of people trying to return shit. No shit, right?
Yeah, right.
But on this case, we had this real amazingly ghetto woman trying to return 3DS. So
okay,
the employees head towards me, and so it's like, hey man, I have this woman who wants to just return this 3DS, but the 3DS is broken, completely destroyed. So I take the 3DS and I'm like, what is this? No, she's saying that it came like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, I go over there and we have this lady.
Yeah.
Scratch that. This ghetto woman.
Sure.
With its ghetto child and ghetto family. This woman brought her child, her brother, her mother, her neighbor, and her small daughter.
Oh my
It was
Lord.
ridiculous. And they were claiming that the unit came destroyed. Brand new unit, straight off the box. They took it out and it was completely destroyed. I'm telling this woman, clearly this does not come broken on the. You dropped this, obviously,
right.
So I'm not able to make any type of return on this. So they were claiming that no, we bought this. Oh, get this! This was 7th of January.
Yeah.
They bought the receipt was on the 23rd of December.
Okay.
So they're claiming that this woman did not. How do you get? He's not in witness protection. Yeah. So this woman did not bring the 3DS.
Yeah.
In all that time, claiming that they never opened it because the daughter. She also gave her daughter a Wii, and they just worked on the Wii, and they did not want to play a 3DS, and they just opened it that day. So, taking the unit in my hand, I'm going, this obviously rolled, not only fell on the floor, this rolled over the floor. It was ridiculous how bad it was.
Yeah.
And they were claiming, no, it's not like that. And the brother was like, dude, you know, it doesn't cost anything to you to make the change. And I'm like, costs us a lot. It's my inventory. I get monitored for that shit. I can't just do this shit for free. And they're claiming, like, no, it came that brand. And I'm like, whoa. So I turned the unit on. As soon as I turned the unit on, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, So let me see if I get the story straight. You bought this device on the 23rd of December.
Mm-hmm.
You never opened it. Girl never opened, never did anything. Okay. So come today, you open it, you take it out of the box, and you immediately notice that it's broken. You put it back in the box. You get your neighbor. You get in the car and you drive this way. And that's how it happens. Yep, that's how it happened. With that, they never played with it. They never did this. And I'm like, great. So, could you care to explain me why does the 3DS has the name and a photo of your child in it?
Yep.
And they're like, oh, that must have been the father. And I'm like, oh, well, the father needs to pay for it then because I'm not going to change it. Yeah. They just came storming out. It was just ridiculous, but it was so satisfying, though. So satisfying.
I've been on the other side of that from the Nintendo perspective, and it pretty much is exactly the same.
Oh my
After
God.
they left your store, they probably called us there.
Oh, probably.
To try and get it again. Yeah, I've been on the other side of that conversation. That's pretty good. So, I think that's...
Well, big moderator, Derek.
What? I don't see the problem.
It's fantastic.
That is... Okay, just because I got paid to do that doesn't mean anything. That's all I'm saying. I actually enjoyed a lot of the smaller jobs that I did at Nintendo, but as an overall picture, it was way worse than I make it sound. It's not fun to be yelled at all day.
No.
Can confirm.
No, it's not.
But that's my story. That's his story. We wanted to do that for today. Try and get a little bit of humor out of the show at least.
Oh, shit.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the game of the week and then end off the episode here today. So we had one quick game that we wanted to talk about, which some people may have heard of before.
Small game.
It's called Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. One of the most popular Zelda titles ever made, and also one of the best 2D Zeldas at the very least.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda holds such an amazing place in my heart as one of the best games I ever played in my life, in my youth. And it completely gave a theme to my whole life. It is a game that I did not stop playing, even though I just cleared it so many times. And it's just one of those masterpieces where you understand where Nintendo is coming from and why Nintendo is Nintendo and why I'm such a fan. And A Link to the Past was that game for me. It is such an amazing game. It is very close to my heart.
So Link to the Past took the original design of Legend of Zelda, not Zelda 2 Adventure Link, and revitalized it for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
So it's their reimagining and extension of the original Legend of Zelda, and it does it really well. It's a game everybody has really played, but maybe not super recently. The music's amazing. The gameplay is quite good. fun dungeons to explore, and it really kind of helped revitalize the series for the Super Nintendo and was a big seller for that console.
Yep.
So, I don't think after Zelda 2, for instance, the Zelda series would have been as popular now if we didn't also have Link to the Past.
So, what things did blow your mind with Link to the Past? What things were you just completely out of your mind with when it came out?
The overworld is just huge. Like, it's much bigger than the original NES game was at the time. And
a lot more structure as well.
Yeah, there's a lot more structure to the dungeons and the gameplay itself. It's a lot less open than Legend of Zelda was. Legend of Zelda had a lot more puzzle element to try and figure out where to go, which was how they added length to the game.
Yeah.
For the NES, but in Super Nintendo, they didn't really have to do that. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot more structure to the gameplay and just a lot more solid game overall.
Yeah, my personal favorite thing about the game is the whole part where once you get your 3 pendants, you find out that there's a completely same world but different. And you go across time or across dimensions to be able to see the difference between the worlds. And that, for me, at that time, was completely mind-blowing. The fact that not only just I explored this huge game, this huge map, which was in itself ahead of its time, I had to re-explore it once more because everything just freaking changed. And that, to me, was just mind-boggling. And how can one cartridge contain so much information was something that we really did not know or see at that time, and that was just amazing.
So I do have a confession. I never actually finished this game because I was playing Link's Awakening
because you
instead.
were monitoring dicks for Nintendo.
No. When this came out,
he's been training all his life monitoring dicks so he can get a job at Nintendo.
You can't say that job wasn't perfect, right? I mean, you can't. Obviously perfect. But I was playing Link's Awakening when this came out, and I didn't have a Super Nintendo right away.
Yeah.
So when I got a Super Nintendo, it didn't have Link to the Past with it. So the only time I ever played Link to the Past was when I went over to my cousin's house to play it, because he owned the game. So I didn't play this until later, and I still haven't finished it.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of good memories of this game, as well as Link's Awakening, which was the Game Boy. Not really the same game, but similar. Very similar to Link to the Past. As well as Oracle Sages and all those other Game Boy games.
Link's Awakening was an amazing game by in itself. It's also a great job. It's just another great example of how Nintendo can grab a franchise and just make it by design for a console just perfectly.
Great. And you have a good point there, Emma, with the Super Mario audiobook and The Life of Iwata. Iwata was an amazing programmer.
Yeah.
And he saved a lot of games from utter destruction. Yep. He saved Earthbound.
Yep.
Bringing that over to the US. Never would have happened without Iwata. Yep. He helped compact Gold and Silver for Pokemon so much so that instead of just having the Johto region, they could include the Kanto region from Red and Blue.
At the beginning, they couldn't. Game Freak was telling them they couldn't even make Johto into the cartridge. Iwata went over there and not only made Johto available, but also inserted the whole of Kanto, and that is completely amazing.
The life and story of Iwata is insane. Yeah. That guy has a record. Definitely something to be respected, and there's a reason that so much of the community respected him when he passed away.
And it's sad that most of us find about this information after the fact.
Yeah.
It would have been amazing to know about him as he was still alive and being CEO of Nintendo. Back
when the news spread that he had passed, Miguel and I actually tried doing the balloon fight challenge that Iwata had made, and we failed miserably. So we tried recording that, and that did not go very well. But he made some really good games, and he's an awesome dude. Definitely an interesting person to read up about.
Yep.
I agree. I'll have to take a look at that later for sure. Something I'm interested in. But that is going to be the episode for today. We're ending a few minutes earlier than normal for these shows, just because we didn't have as much to talk about during our middle section. But hopefully you guys like the show. We're planning on doing this still on more of a weekly basis. Now that the moving and such is done, we should be able to get together more often.
Yep.
So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for listening.
Yep.
Make sure to check us out next episode and follow us on Twitter. That's your best way to learn about when we'll be going live next. Also, if you're following here on Twitch, that helps out.
Yeah, definitely. And then keep in touch. We're going to be... It's going to be a lot more common now. Every week, every Thursday, we're going to be online, and we're going to do this, and it's going to be better. And now that we actually have been able to settle everything, we're going to be able to bring you not only this show, but maybe some other extra stuff that we've been cooking for a while, and we haven't been able to do it because of time restrictions. Now we're going to be able to do them because time is no longer a problem.
We're also trying to get some streams together. If you guys want to see, maybe we could do some co-op stuff.
And Don Diggity, thank you, man. It's appreciated. We're trying. So thank you so much.
Some sound effects. Cool.
We're going to do that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put the outro on. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good...
Love you guys. See you later.